Are you ready? Are you ready to pod it up?
Let's go. Let's have fun.
Pete-cast it. This is the Simply Youth Ministry Podcast with Doug Fields,
But we are an award-winning podcast. We ought to start promoting that.
Matt McGill,
Let's soak up that awesomeness. How great is this?
Wow.
Josh Griffin,
Just to throw it in there, not all of our shows are going to be great.
and Katie Edwards.
That's what the teens are saying.
Write in. We'll answer your email.
SYMpodcast@gmail.com.
Hey! Hey, everybody, welcome to the Simply Youth Ministry Podcast. This is Doug Fields here with Matt McGill and my co-host Josh
Welcome.
Griffin, episode 159.
We're one short today.
We are missing Katie Edwards, and this is for us. This is spring week,
Yep.
spring vacation. I'm actually leaving today to Lake Arrowhead after the show.
I call it Easter break because
Easter
I'm
break.
a Christian.
That's fine.
Just kidding, it's spring break. Wait, Lake
Josh
Arrowhead,
is
what are you doing up
taking
there?
the week off,
Yes, I am.
which is perfect.
Yep.
Kids are out of school. It's
been so much fun already.
Came straight from the gym.
Straight from the gym. Can you
As soon as
tell?
he walked in, I just started laughing because of the sweat stains.
I sweat. I have 800 calories. I cut it a little short to be here on time today.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Nicely done. That means you got a little bit late start.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Kids needed breakfast and let Ange sleep in. It was, it's great. More spring break. So much fun.
You're a good dad. You're a good
You know
dad.
what?
Now, do you know you have
I
5
wanna be.
kids?
I've got 5 kids, and let me tell you, I know based on how much they cry.
You
Hey,
know,
well, it's a
you're
big
good
day
dad.
for us because
Today
we have.
Today I stayed at home an extra 15 minutes
That's
because
good.
Mac was on my lap.
I
And
love
was like,
that.
I didn't want to get him
So,
off
soak that up.
so I could leave.
I agree.
All right. Hey, we have a sponsor, which we're all very excited about, and the bummer is we never start recording the show without because we'd like to keep the comments
Yeah.
just for the show, and we sat
Right.
down this life book and we started paging through it, and we
Yeah.
made about 50 comments.
we got
how
excited,
we are
yeah.
about this thing. It looks great.
Well, it's really cool.
So
That's
Josh,
part of
why
okay.
don't you make the official
All right.
what the paid sponsor has paid for, which we have no idea what they pay.
But let's just, we have no idea what they paid, and we don't see
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah,
a red
doesn't-
cent
Doesn't come to us.
of that. Is that kind of an old phrase back from when you were a little
Yeah,
kid?
why, where does red scent?
Is that red?
I just
Red
lost
Dawn?
interest. Go ahead.
Okay. But we were actually talking about how much we like this before we knew it was a sponsor.
It's
Oh, I
very
knew it
true.
was. I knew it was.
Oh,
sponsored.
you did?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's cool.
So I'm
Here we go.
Okay, here's the official, ladies and gentlemen, the
I'm
official
only one
sponsor.
with integrity.
Today's podcast sponsored by thelifebook.com. Check out this cool new ministry getting God's Word into schools through students, your students, handing out God's Word to their classmates during school at no cost to your youth ministry. It's happening all over the U.S. as over 500,000 life books have been distributed by students in the last year and a half. This ministry was founded by the Gideons, but the Lifebook uses a modern translation and is a relevant evangelistic tool. Now here's the deal. Go to thelifebook.com, fill out the form for more information, and they'll connect with you, send you free copies of the Lifebook, actually giving you enough Lifebooks so each of your students can reach 50 classmates with a Lifebook during a short-term missions trip to their schools. No costs, no strings attached, free Lifebooks to mobilize your student ministries to reach their classmates. Go to thelifebook.com right now, and you can watch a little video and get more details there.
That's amazing that they would do that. They give
I think
away
it's
free.
cool.
There's the funding. The Gideons have got to be a part of. Somebody's got to be funding this so that
Yeah.
each kid in a youth group could have 50 of these.
It's unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not, I mean.
No, that's it. That's their whole thing.
Everybody
Contact them. They'll give you 50 per
and
kid.
the essence of it, and this is,
thelifebook.com.
we're looking at it kind of for the first time. We're all kind of stunned and blown away, and we were always
It's
trying
cool.
to figure out how we're going to use it in our youth ministry.
I have a couple
but
really-
it's the
yes.
book of John with notes off to the side that looks like a kid has made a bunch of notes, and it's just very clever. And I think it'll
Yeah,
be.
it's more than just the book of John. It starts off with, God's story before Jesus. Then it's got a ton from the book of John. And then it has, a challenge. I mean, this is great.
This is the kind of sponsor we want. The one that we get excited about this.
Totally. No, it's
and
true.
we're not just doing this to pay for
Appease
the
Brazel's vacation fund.
no, to pay for the what is this called when people download
Bandwidth.
Bandwidth, yeah.
Yeah.
It honestly, it's one of the coolest. It's
Yeah, it's nice.
a good idea.
It's nice. I'm
It's a good
excited
idea.
about it.
We're going
All
to
right.
use it. I guarantee you, we're going to use it.
I know.
A, because it's free. B, because it's actually really cool. And C, I mean, giving I'm in.
Well, and it doesn't.
Spread the word.
Cassie, my 16-year-old, has been bringing some girls to church, and they're getting very excited about
Totally.
coming. And they went to give her. They got the girl a Bible, and typical Bible thing. She started at the beginning.
Totally.
And I told Cassie, I said, have her just read about Jesus right now. Just start there. She's got a lot of questions. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and if she's got to choose one, just go to John. It's more stories.
Yeah, and what
easier to
if
read.
you could hand them a book like
Yeah,
this
this is
and
great.
say, this is the Bible in a little different format?
Great. Love
I'm
it.
in.
Love it, love it, love it.
We're doing a series in the fall called 40 Days of the Bible or something.
Oh, that sounds good.
What if we called it the Life Book and we got permission to do?
That's great.
I don't know.
And I just rewrote
I think
some
it's
stuff
cool.
for us for evangelism, for getting our students to do the Friendship Evangelism Challenge.
Dude, this
and
would work
this would be
perfectly.
perfect.
It's so funny because it
Dovetail with
feels. I have to admit, it feels forced. Like I don't know what they paid, but they paid us to sponsor the show. But I'm genuinely excited about it.
No, that's
it's
good.
weird.
This is one that we
That's
would
the
have
right
talked
kind of
about.
sponsor.
This is one we
That's
would have
true.
sponsored without them paying us.
Considering we've had 3 sponsors or 4 over the life of 159 episodes.
That's true. TheLifeBook.com. There you go. All right.
Hey,
That co-host move right there.
I love it.
Like
I
little-
love it.
little bow, just
with,
tied it and
with Katie, the other co-host, not being here, I'm asking you to step it up a little bit. Hey, this is a question from Martin Vigelas. I'm a minister in
Switzerland.
Slavic,
That's what I meant.
asking permission to use some of our articles for a website in Slovakia. I love saying that.
Former Czechoslovakia.
Slovakia.
Oh, it is really.
Nadia Comaneci.
And I love how the first one we'd like to translate is this one that I wrote on developing student leaders, written by Doe Fields.
Joe Fields.
So yes, you have my permission. And then here's the deal. I was thinking
Doe.
about this.
They don't need our permission.
Cookie dough
I have a
Fields.
feeling that this is youth ministry, the Youth Ministry Daily. Matt and I write a Youth Ministry
Yeah.
Daily. And since you have become a full-time youth pastor, instead of giving them your email address, you're sending all their comments to the podcast.
Yeah.
We got to change that.
Okay.
Can we do that?
Can we just tell them yes?
Yeah, the answer is yes, because other people have
That's
asked
great.
about this.
But here, we need to just change it. So if you're not subscribed to the Youth Ministry
But where
Dailies,
do you want them to go? We don't want them to go to
Just
group.
go to
'cause
you.
We'll never get those.
can you do a Gmail account to...
Set up a new Gmail account?
Yeah,
But
because
who's
now
gonna check it?
here's the problem with our team that sends in questions.
Yeah.
A lot of times I can't tell
Yeah.
the question from our team member and a question from a Youth Ministry Daily person who may not ever...
Who might not ever listen?
Yeah.
Well,
And I'd rather give priority to our team members.
I would much rather give priority to our team.
really,
members, too.
really quick. General principle, though.
Can we just send
You
it
can
to
use
your-
stuff from our blogs and what we write with. Just give credit and maybe a link back to where it originated.
Yeah,
Right? Don't you think
that
that's
way
fair?
everybody wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
My stuff you don't need to link back.
I don't know. What was that? Fatigue with no filter. That was a good
with
blog
no
post
filter.
Matt wrote. He doesn't write many, but
I
when
know.
he does, they're really good.
That's why I don't follow him.
I agree. Yeah. I unfollow
No, that's
you right
not
now.
why you don't follow me.
Why is it that I don't follow you?
Yeah.
Because you don't read. Well, now you're a blog reader.
Well,
don't
I'm
read blog
way
posts.
behind right now. I'm going to read on
Yeah.
vacation.
Yeah.
But I got to get you on my feed burner.
I was proud of you for dividing that one up
not
into
feed.
3 posts. You take a whole week of content. I was
2
like,
posts.
Yes.
I did in 2.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I only saw the first one. So
Yeah, well, you're a little behind.
Well, your intro post, and I saw one. So you did one more, right?
No.
No,
Yeah.
that's it. Just
No,
those
I-
two.
speaking, I did it.
can't.
Oh.
I can't read either of your guys's because that'll just influence. Then the daily will start looking exactly like that.
Well,
So
I don't
Then
know.
we'd
Maybe
actually
it's
have
not-
some good content
Yeah,
on the
maybe
daily.
the Lord would be pleased then. Here we go, Slovakia. Check it off. Done.
This is from Chris McKenna, Director of Middle School Ministry.
I'm starving.
Thank you for sharing these articles. See? There you go.
Oh.
I guess.
This is turning into the Youth Ministry Daily Show. Nice name. We just record it every day. Oh, forget it. We're back to the SYM podcast. Keep going.
Well, this is a follow-up to also what we
happening
talked about where you took some of your student greeters
Yes.
to Griff's high school ministry.
To Mecca.
So it somewhat ties in.
He says, something I did last year, which was very effective. I planted, quote unquote, 3 younger looking freshmen from our church in the student cafe on a Sunday morning before our middle school worship service. I gave them specific instructions on how to interact. don't initiate conversation, what to say when approached, etc. And then during my message on noticing and accepting those around us, I asked the kids if they noticed any new faces. We typically have 80 to 100 kids at a service, so a larger crowd. But
big.
3 new kids sitting all by themselves should have been noticed. Then I let the cat out of the bag, telling them that I had planted 3 new kids in the crowd, had them stand up. The middle school students were stunned. Only one of the 3 plants had been approached, and that was only 1 student. It was a clear wake-up call to my middle school kids that they needed to step up the effort. I plan to do this again soon.
Oh, I like
good.
that.
I like
Good
it.
idea.
Do you remember?
Oh, I was gonna say, we had a visitor. I was talking to a parent after church last weekend, which was good and fine and cool. But 2 students walk up, and they make eye contact when I'm talking. So after I could see that the parent was just talking forever, I just said, "Oh, you know what? I need to go." So I totally blew them off for a second. Just wait. And I go to talk to this one girl. She introduces me to a visitor. And
love
I
it.
was like, "Oh, that's great. Do you guys know each other? How are you guys buddies?" And actually, they said, "Oh, I just met her a few minutes ago. I thought it would be good to, or I met her right before the service. And I
Shut
thought it would
it.
be good to just bring her up and introduce
Dude,
you
that
to,
is
And how great is that?
It's good.
How great is that?
Love it, man.
So,
You are making a difference in the life of
well,
our church.
it's not. I mean, that's.
Dude, you get
forget what
those
you
those start happening more and more.
It's just
The
fun.
momentum go. Oh, dude,
It's just fun.
if you get students that get it, I'm getting excited for you, dude. That's
Actually,
big.
let's transition
That
to
is
this
big.
question right here from our buddy Corey West.
All right.
He
Corey
sent
West.
this as a picture because he's part of our rewind.
That was
And by
way
the
too
way,
small.
Hey,
if you're a rewind, which
Oh,
means
no,
you went
same
all the way back, send your picture in. If you're a 00 person, you'd think you'd already, because you
Yeah,
listen all
you'd
the
know.
time, you'd send your picture in.
yeah. The window's closing on
I have
you.
3 or 4 to print out.
3 or 4 dozen.
No, there's not that many. They're trickling in now.
Should we just have
And the
people
rest
print
have
them out
been-
for you?
Actually,
mail them to you?
if you could physically mail in a
Well,
picture,
and
it's the
then they
only
would
way.
go sit on my desk. I'm not sure
Yeah,
they'd
you're
make it
that
over
way.
here yet. I'm going to do it all at once.
If you could come,
I'm going to do it all at once.
If you can actually physically staple a picture on the wall, you can have your picture up there.
Corey West says, I've been at my current church for a year and we're undergoing some great changes. However, one of the greatest challenges we're facing is helping our students and leaders believe in the vision to reach out to those outside the church. We teach on it, ask students to invite people who don't know Jesus and encourage them to pray for lost friends. Because we have around 200 students every weekend, our students seem to be content with the way things are. But the majority of our students don't even want to hang out with people who are different from them, let alone tell them about Jesus. I even have to make students go and talk to visitors whenever they do come. Do the experts have any great words of wisdom? I've been a team member since episode 00 and appreciate all you do. Thanks for being a part of my weekly sanity meeting. Here's a picture of me and my bride. It's pretty small.
Oh, it is. I could cut that one out and put it up there.
Will I be able to enlarge that?
I hope so.
Okay. It may be too small.
You mean you, or do
Corey-
you mean does Gmail? Is
Corey,
Gmail
send in a
able to-
better picture, okay? Corey, send in a better picture for the photo wall.
So
You're a 00
why did he send
member.
it to us if he's looking for expert advice?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Well, Katie's not here, so let's
Katie's
talk about it.
gone. We're
That is a good transition from what we were just talking
yeah,
about.
I'm with you on that.
you're always going to have to tell students to go and meet other people. I mean, that's just human nature. There's a small percentage of the population that's extroverted, that's compassionate in that way, that's not a weakness.
Yes. Don't you
That's
think
a
you
small
have to tell
percentage.
adults that too? Like I feel like
Absolutely.
it's not just repeating this vision and idea and philosophy to students. I would
Yeah.
say I'm constantly grabbing adults saying, "Hey, Chip, run down there and meet that new kid," or "I've never seen that football player
Yeah.
before. Dennis, come over here and grab," whatever. Like
Yeah.
I constantly
Dennis, come over here and grab.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like I have to constantly say it to adults, much less students. So, yeah, I think the vision has to be repeated.
You just have to
every
repeat.
week.
What you want to see happen, you have to emphasize.
My boss used to have on his desk a monkey with some symbols.
So
Made famous in
insider.
Toy Story 3. His boss was Doug. The monkey was his. Reveal. Twist. Repeat.
Yeah. Well, the monkey was a symbol of you'd wind it up and it would do this. It played one song, and I used to give that as an illustration. If you're a leader, you have to figure out what your songs are going to be, and you got to repeat them. And greeting others is one of those.
Absolutely.
But I think there's there's a student leader element to this where
Totally.
you raise the bar and you train student leaders, you expect student leaders to do this as part of showing up to youth group. It's not it's not like, hey, I got to go over and tell a student leader to now go do something. No, part of being a student leader is being a servant, and when you show up to youth group,
Totally.
that's part of your ministry.
Yep.
Well,
and,
and I've
that's
even-
raising the bar.
I even blogged a couple weeks ago about, it was just in my normal weekend review, my favorite moment of the service. And we had some creative elements, the teaching it was all a great program.
Yeah.
I wrote my favorite moment of the week was this girl, her name is McKenna, and she walked around, or Michaela, sorry, and walked around, sat with a new girl, talked to the new girl, met the
Yep,
new girl,
yep.
and in this huge crowd, and my dad is visiting, I'm like, do you see what's happening?
Yeah.
And it was this core
the
girl
best.
who saw it
Yeah.
and took action. It
Now
was
let's take
beautiful.
that a step further. What you do next time you get up and speak is you give that
That's a good
illustration.
call. It's a good call.
You give that
Yeah.
illustration in your message. Not only lifts up McKenna, but it sends a message to everybody else in the youth
Totally.
ministry that is a value.
Well, and I even pulled her aside afterwards. She was talking with one of our volunteers, and I just said, "Hey, I saw what you did. I'm
Yeah.
proud of you.
Yep.
That's the stuff that's going to make our youth group incredible."
Yeah.
And she's beaming, and she got caught doing something good, which
Yeah.
is rare to be praised for.
Is that McKenna and my wife's small group?
Yeah, no.
No.
I misspoke. It was Michaela.
Oh,
but
Michaela.
I think she's one of your daughter's good friends. I see her
Oh,
a
okay.
lot.
Okay, she's the volleyball
Yeah.
player?
Yeah.
Yep. I know
She's
exactly who
darling.
she is. Yep, she's
Anyhow.
great.
Anywho,
Well, hey, anyway, let me say, if you need help with your student leaders, we have a fabulous conference coming up, July 5th through the 8th at Azusa Pacific University that all three of us are going to be a part of. Yeah,
co-sponsors with thelifebook.com.
that's right. Student leadership, you can find all the information on dougfields.com. We're very excited about that. We've
That's gonna be fun.
got a lot of people coming from out of state, which was surprising me. I was thinking first time doing this
I
back
noticed the
after a
early
couple
bird
years.
goes up in a couple days. Probably by the time this podcast is up.
I switched the date.
You did?
I added a couple
Because
more weeks.
I saw that and I just thought I couldn't commit right now.
Yeah,
You know, I couldn't
that's
commit to
just-
an early bird.
That shows
Just-
your character. That, summer
Well, it
summer
shows-
calendar should be out by Easter,
And
you'd
it is.
You'd think you'd commit.
And it almost is out, but you got to fill summer camp before you fill
I
student
know.
leader.
Yeah. Look at
Yep.
talk about shallow. I got to fill the entry level stuff instead of training my leaders.
Amen and amen. It's the right call.
okay.
Monkey does as monkey saw.
Let's,
Too soon? Too soon? Good times.
All right,
Here we go.
dear Doug, Matt, Katie, and Josh,
Oh,
in podcast
Nicely
157.
put your guy's name on there too.
You all talked about communication. Things were said like hand-delivered communication, 4 different kinds of communication, impossible to over-communicate. Any chance you guys could share the different forms of communication that you all use and maybe get a list started that people could add to these different communications for all of the team? This is from Mark Eads. Just another chance to hear Doug say, I give too deep of questions. That's not a deep question, Mark.
No, that's
Yeah,
not.
No, you're back to normal.
Very superficial, actually.
Yeah, so superficial, we're not going to answer it. Well, okay, you want to start a list?
How about Josh? I'm props for, let's see how long you keep this up, but now as a parent of teenagers, my daughter is in Josh's youth group, and I'm now getting a weekly
Yep.
little email from Josh, and I get one from somebody else on his team about being a volunteer.
Right.
And I'm more interested in reading Josh's than I am in the volunteers. No offense to the volunteers.
No,
but I'm kinda
that's
going, hey, I
great.
got a small group.
And do you do a separate email, or do you actually have them just do a FeedBurner sign up to the website?
We actually have moved to the parent newsletter, weekly parent newsletter, being our primary method of communication with parents. Before, quite honestly, we didn't do it well at all. That's
Yeah, it's
just way up
I'm
by
wearing
your eye.
Katie's today because I'm in the wrong.
it's
like,
been high the last couple of weeks.
is that better?
Yeah.
So much better.
Riley-
Fixing my mic, sorry.
Riley's asleep. So
Yeah, wake up, Riley. So basically, what was happening is we said we were communicating with parents. We really weren't. We have a text list that has a few parents on it.
Yeah.
We have a blog that gets an occasional update that hasn't really seen a major update since 2007. Church politics, don't worry about it. And now we're moving towards, you know what? Let's take control into our own hands. Let's email everybody. Let's create an email every week. Send it out. It goes out, and I kind of just felt like parents don't know what's happening in our youth group, which is nice. They trust
Yeah.
us. They believe in us. But I kind of want to work together a little bit more. This is our first step. So what we did is we have this volunteer email that you get, and then we take that information, add it to what we now we call our Parent Weekly, add a few things in for parents, send it out. Quick
How are you
and
tracking
easy.
your data? How did you sign up for?
It's a long story of how
Is it through the
Saddleback in
church
particular
database?
works. Yeah, I would love it if we used like a MailChimp and they could sign up, get out easy. Basically what happens is we have an in-house system that we have to use that isn't great. But whatever, it is what it
It
is.
was great that I got it. I mean, I got a team.
So what we did is we pulled from the church database a list of everybody with a kid 14 to 18 years old. We added them,
great idea.
and that's how it goes.
Great. Let people opt out
So,
if they want to.
and what's great is people who don't send their students to our youth ministry, or maybe don't even know we have a youth ministry because of whatever, now are getting a newsletter saying, hey, and this is what it said this week. Hey guys, this is Doug Fields teaching this weekend. We're doing a series about Jesus. We're not having HSM next week. You scroll down a little bit. Here's a serve opportunity. Here's a parent resource. Here's 5 save the dates. Summer camp is 4 months away or 3 months away. It's already on there and da-da-da-da. So I hope there's enough value to do it every week. It feels like a lot.
Yeah.
But I feel like if we don't do it every week, we aren't going to do it very well.
Yeah, no, I think you do it weekly. I don't think you need to put a ton of time into it. I was telling him you could probably even get a parent to start doing some of the bits for you. Like he's had a parent resource on each one. So one was a book by Jim Burns called Teenology. Another one he had, I don't remember the title. I just remember Burnt Toast on it. It was a parent book. And I'm not sure you do books every week, but I was telling him, what about a culture brief? Like, you're 22 years old. You're not up with, culture's already passed you by. So
Totally.
Giving him some tips,
Culture has always passed me by.
Well, yeah.
Well, this week we're recommending a resource. I think it's actually Homeward, Jim Burns' resource. And we're also going to start promoting, Walt Mueller has a culture email that he sends out that I think we're just going to suggest they just sign up for in addition.
Yeah.
Jim has one as well. So we're just scratching the surface of what it is. Basically, it's like a note from me. It's what's happening this week in youth group, a few coming events, dates and whatever. And then some type of we want to help you be a good parent. Maybe it's a book, a website, a resource, a culture nod, something. And to me, the strength of it is my oldest kid is 9. So I've never raised a teenager. Yeah, I feel like I have a lot of credibility in that space as a youth pastor. I think without kids, you're fine. But this allows me to say, I want to partner with you in raising your students. And here's some people that have raised teenagers right. And here's some principles to help you do it right. I don't necessarily have to have teenagers to help them be great parents.
Yeah.
So we have horrible data at our church because that's not
seeing a trend.
No. It's excellent at Saddleback. I mean,
well,
compared to what we've got.
Interesting.
Because to be a member, you fill everything out, and so there's really good data at Saddleback. At Mariners, that just hasn't been a value, and so
I'm just saying at most churches it probably isn't a value. In my experience,
I thought you were
data
saying
is not.
Yeah,
a value,
and so
period.
it's tough. When I got there and I said, "Hey, can I have a list of all the families with a high school kid?" I mean, it was very spotty and not very up to date, and so. So all that's to say, what we're doing is we're just doing. I'm telling everybody to subscribe to our blog, FeedBurner thing. So FeedBurner has all the email addresses. I don't, which isn't great, but at least they're getting updates. And the other thing that we're trying to do too, Facebook is it's just nebulous. I mean, sometimes you get updates, sometimes you don't, depending on your feed and all that stuff. But we're just starting a bunch of different groups. In adding kids to that, that's just part of our office work ministry. So kids that are interested in this program, the homeless outreach, they get added to a group that's homeless outreach. So we're going to end up with probably 8 or 9 different groups, and I'm not sure that's the most effective way, but we're just checking that out. So
I would just say we have a lot of Facebook, Twitter, blogs, email. The list is long, but at the end of the day. Email is still our primary baby. And with parents and volunteers, that really works. Younger volunteers, students, none of that
Email's your
works.
primary to kids?
No, I would say to students, no, absolutely not. Texting we have a holy grail. Texting is it. And boy, talk about protecting data and valuing data. That, to me, that text list is our student ministry. We send something to that. It's a big deal. So
cool. And we're, yep.
All right. This is from Jason Steffen to the host Josh. Love the show. I've got a student who's 18 years old who dropped out of middle school years ago. Sounds like Miguel. The student comes to youth group because of his girlfriend. My youth team has been trying to connect with him and lead him into a relationship with Christ, but I question if we're making any forward progress. The student tends to be more of a distraction for the other students. Here's my question. At what point do we move this student on into
right now.
college ministry and out of the youth group? His girlfriend is 16, so it will be a little while until she graduates. I've talked with the student multiple times about being an example for younger students, but he likes the attention when acting up. What do we do with a dropout who is getting too old for youth ministry?
Yeah, I think sooner rather than later. And he's in all fairness, he's leading us to that decision. He's not giving us any of the other side of the story. So he's basically helping us tell him to let him go.
The way it's presented,
However,
it seems pretty obvious.
It sure seems like the right decision from here.
Well, if chances are at 18, the guy's a senior, so you graduate him with the senior class. You don't make it you're a dropout and you're dating a 16-year-old because the kid could say I wasn't in school. Hey, you're of senior age. We'd love for you to be involved in our college ministry. It's great that you're dating a 16-year-old, but
he's 18, dropped out of middle school
years ago. So the guy hasn't been in school for a long time. Sounds like.
Yeah. So graduate him this year when he would have graduated.
Yeah.
So he
Perfect.
hasn't even been in high school?
That's the assumption I
agree. Here's the thing. He can't be a leader because you would never allow a leader to date a student. And you probably have a buffer year, or you maybe should.
Yeah.
So he can't be a part of the youth group as a participant. He can't be a part of the youth group as a leader. This is an easy, clean break. Come June 1st or whenever your school year ends.
There's somebody in the church. I think, instead of just saying, no, you're gone.
True.
I think the goal would be also to say,
oh, yeah,
there are some men in our church that would love to mentor you. If you don't have a college age
hand
ministry.
him off well. I'm with you.
And we'd love to keep meeting with you. I mean, it could be one of those things where you find a guy in the church says, yeah, I'll do a one, what I used to call a one-on-one, where you go through a growth booklet together or something like that. And
maybe the Life Book.
Maybe the lifebook.com. You go through that on Wednesday nights. He could still come to youth group with his girlfriend, drop her off, and then he goes and meets in another room with a mentor.
Give him a simultaneous, one-on-one to youth group. That's strong. Brilliant.
Tyler Volkers was talking.
I'm going to wait for your fist to pound my fist. That was good.
For what? What did you...
No, because I was thinking, Saturday morning breakfast, but to do it at the same time as youth group gives him a replacement.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm
it's a nice little...
His mentor doesn't want to go to church.
All right, why don't you blog on that?
I will make it my own and give you no credit.
You can blog on it and link it to Matt.
Love God, love students.
You need a haircut, Matt. You should Twitter about that.
I love that got you guys.
Tyler Volkers says that he was saying that one of the things we've talked about is caring for other staff members. And he says he's been doing that with his volunteers.
Love it.
So his volunteers are out of town, he'd mow their lawn, things like that. He says, but today it's getting to be a little too far. One of my team members is having a vasectomy today, and he needs someone to drive him there while his wife suddenly became very ill. He texted me last night looking for a ride to this appointment. For some reason, I find it odd that this is where my time with volunteers is taking me. But in another sense, this is cool that my team members are trusting me with this personal thing. It got me thinking, what's the strangest or oddest thing that our team has done for volunteers? I have a feeling that this could lead to some interesting responses.
That's a strong... Dude, I'd be proud of that. That's cool.
You got a great story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're bonded for life now.
And a bunch of jokes.
Exactly. That is just...
So what's the strangest immediately my mind goes to just helping volunteers move. But that's never very strange.
I'm trying to think of a strange one off the cuff. That's a good one.
Yeah. Strangest
I just love the idea of doing life. That's real life.
Yeah.
With your volunteers. Yeah. The conversations, the inside jokes, the laughter, the memory. I don't know. Having experienced that with good friends in the past.
No, it's a fun idea.
Speaking of you guys in particular.
Josh cares for his volunteers by meeting with them occasionally and helping them with their blog.
That's true. The strangest thing, this guy.
That's funny. Yeah. I was thinking about. I'm trying to think of the right way to say this. which is
that.
always hard.
There's a
No,
Matt
but
filter just
there's a couple volunteers that are young volunteers in our ministry, and I'll just be honest that they're probably not going to make it. Actually,
Yeah.
there's one volunteer. It's probably not going to
In
make it. So I'm not really excited. Absolutely not. No. And so,
If
So I'm not
if we start
really-
naming people, will you say yes or no?
You don't-
'Cause this
you
could be a
don't know.
fun
It's the
game.
only one I know.
Oh shoot!
but I'm just not super excited to meet one-on-one with this guy. You know, I mean, we don't have a large leadership team, and I've gotten through almost everybody, and but I was just thinking about having my meeting time with him being doubled up as I like go to a baseball game.
That's a
And
great
doing
idea.
two birds
Get
with one stone.
two credits for one quarter. Love it.
That's good.
But
Why not do that?
I know, why not?
Well, if he's not going to be on your team, you're kind of modeling relational ministry and send him to Josh's church.
Yeah, I might. He needs to be. No, the guy's not a bad guy. It's just, I mean, you got to have different kinds of leaders on your team to reach different kinds of kids. So that's actually a good thing to have people you don't totally. I mean, you don't connect with all you have too many to connect with all of them one-on-one. But even personality-wise, you can't connect with everybody.
It's impossible.
And
yeah.
it's good when you can't, to a degree, because it shows that you've got different kinds of leaders to reach different
Yeah.
kind of kids.
Well, I'm just thinking about dog sitting for volunteers, or even
I've house sat. I
even
guess.
getting an oil change with a volunteer before. But
That's good.
that's a good man. You got 20 minutes to kill one-on-one while you're getting your oil changed, or they're getting their oil change, whatever. It's brilliant. I don't know.
Should I tell the story of what
things
not
can
to
be-
say at a volunteer meeting?
Why don't you tell the story, and I'm going to make a quick bathroom run. I can barely
Wait,
think.
what?
My
I got
goodness.
peed
In the
so
middle
bad.
of this, you
is
are
the
kidding
first
me.
Yeah, let's
time.
do it first. I have been drinking all morning. And I normally
Why
start.
don't you just?
You should just drink
Under the
water
table?
instead of liquor.
I am so.
You've been
I
drinking all
gotta
morning.
go
It's
so
tough
bad. We
work.
only have a few minutes left anyway. Start
Well,
your
let's
story.
just-
Time me.
Okay.
You are
Time me.
kidding
You
me.
time
This is really unbelievable.
It's the first.
Official
okay?
timer.
Seriously,
Wait.
this is
Wait.
unbelievable.
Who's got?
I don't. My
You
phone's
took
out
my
there.
phone away.
Oh yeah, where's the phone?
You are such.
10:52.
I knew this since I was a sophomore in high school. The biggest liar I
I'm going
know.
to set the
I'm
stopwatch.
trying to find the.
Okay, here, stopwatch.
Okay.
On the table. Ready?
Ready,
Okay,
set.
now you tell your story. I'm done. Okay, one.
That's
two.
great. Okay, have fun. Ouch,
1 second.
stop it.
Hurry.
Ouch.
3 seconds already. All right. Story time.
Because you know what he would do.
Hey, let's
He
just
would
leave.
lock the door.
Let's.
We need to lock the door.
We do. I'll lock
Yeah,
it.
lock
Keep,
the
start with your story.
Okay, so this is definitely not a page out of the Doug Fields, Josh Griffin youth ministry textbook. That is for absolutely sure.
There's no
yeah,
lock
it would
on
be
the
more
door.
fun to lock the other door.
All right.
Okay, so we're at our volunteer staff meeting the other day. Yeah, a couple days ago. I'm super tired. Oh, now I'm all by myself. Even Griff is gone. I can't tell a story to myself. I had you wouldn't lock the door. That is awesome. So had services, then we had a volunteer staff meeting, and it was actually the worst time of day to have volunteer staff meeting. And this is did you break this thing?
I think I might have.
That is awesome.
I have to get up again to go.
Let him in. I know, huh?
When he knocks.
He's
Sir,
gonna be
volunteer
pissed.
staff meeting.
Yeah. So anyhow, I'm like, hey, for those of you guys, it's your first time here. At the end of the meeting, just share who you are and something interesting about yourself. Just introduce your.
He's knocking.
Oh, that is unbelievable. We should really stop it right now because that is the time. That was.
That is fantastic.
Talk about wasting. Hopefully we edit this out. I stopped it.
I was gonna dive through.
It was 1:22 when you got to the
stopped it
door
on the first knock.
So that was clearly not a distraction.
Okay. So
Okay,
we'll
you know what
edit
I was
that
going to
part
do?
out.
I thought to myself, I'm going to go running in, and I'm going to dive on the table. I don't care how much water's going to knock over. I'm gonna,
So we ruined the bit.
well, then you guys got me by locking the door. It was a good bit.
We tried to lock this one. This would be great to banter with you, but it doesn't lock.
Yeah. Remember when I got locked out of this one? I'm trying to dig a hole into the glass.
I do remember that. You're a little out of breath right now.
Well, I ran.
You ran.
I ran as I'm running past people in the hall. You know, when you're running to go into the bathroom.
Oh yeah, they're like, oh, that guy.
Yeah.
Dude, you
Especially
missed
'cause
Matt's
there's
story. It was incredible.
It was
So
bad.
funny.
I read it on.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, go to.
Orthodog.com.
Just kidding. We hadn't gotten to the store yet. We were
didn't-
so excited about locking the door.
You wasted a minute and 22 seconds.
I don't know. We wasted.
You did. I can't believe.
I'm sorry. I had
No,
to go
it's
so
okay.
bad.
You had to runp.com.
No. Runp.com.
Have you ever been there? It's clever. All right, finish the story. We're almost done.
Yeah. Oh, so the bottom line is, so I said, hey, you're gonna have to share something, and there's always the deer in headlights look by some, and I was like, it doesn't have to be super serious. It doesn't have to be super clever, or your worst, alleviating some of the fears. And so I'm so tired that I think something, and for some reason I also said it. And what I said was, and besides, if you can't think about something interesting about yourself, then you're probably too insecure to be in leadership. And it got some good laughter. I mean, people
It's
actually
good.
laughed. But it was probably inappropriate.
Too far, probably too far.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, I liked it.
I don't know.
I'm a kinder, more gentler Matt these
That's
days.
not true.
Surprising.
And
Weaker
that's true.
and softer and
That's true
wussier.
everywhere except the podcast.
That's true. Your persona.
Now that my old mentor doesn't need me to be the bad cop,
Your disguise.
I'm ready to be the good cop.
Oh, I like it.
Yep.
Well, any more questions?
A lot of
Let's throw another one
questions.
out.
Let's go grab
do
some
it.
lunch. I'm hungry. I forgot to eat breakfast this morning, which is very
I had an
important.
avocado and a boiled egg
Nice.
and a handful of M&Ms, whatever.
No, you
Trying to keep it real, guys. Not on a diet. I'm just whatever. Just working out hard.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Okay, Daniel. We are a small group, about 30 high schoolers each Sunday. This is from Mike.
That's awesome.
Dobies.
doobie.
Dobes.
Love it.
All
right.
We held our winter retreat in January, and the ministry we used to go to the big professional camp. I made the decision to pull back from that to try to build unity into our group. I have been in the place of bringing healing and structure to a hurting group of kids and families. My mind wandered
Okay.
just now.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about my my verbal
Oh my goodness.
errors this weekend speaking it.
Twice
what
Fields
did you say?
said
No, it's-
of the most inappropriate. If you need fodder for your
worse
seminars,
than your,
on
summer camp one where you talked about contact lenses.
no, but bad.
Bad.
Okay, we'll
And
do it.
he-
We'll do it when we finish.
He just okay. It was.
It was strong.
I was like dying, and your wife sitting next to me dying.
Oh, yeah.
Like almost like ready to chew you out from the. It was awesome.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Kathy doesn't really get mad.
I
Well,
have
she
been
was
in
like,
place of-
"You can't, no, what?" And then she repeated it to me, and I was like, "He said it. Yep, that's what he said."
I've been in place of bringing healing and structure to a hurting group of kids and families. We spent the night at a friend's church in a different city and spent the money on a guest speaker and worship leader. It was nothing special from a production perspective,
I like
Sounds
but
cool.
turned into a powerful weekend for the kids and leaders. Lots of work, but I feel that our winter retreat each year will stay like this. The kids loved a time to be away and to worship, but weren't concerned about the surroundings. For summer, we attend the big camp, and yes, it's also double the cost, but it's a different focus for kids.
Sounds fantastic.
You know, we talked about this a couple episodes ago.
You're right. The putting on your own camp, doing
Yeah.
your own thing.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
That's
I just thought
that's
that was a good idea. It's a little bit like we've done this before where we do a discipleship retreat and don't go anywhere, go into the
Right.
homes.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's brilliant.
I think smaller, inexpensive camps like the Student Leadership Conference at Azusa,
Well, part of it is I think change is good.
Yeah.
So if you always do this, traditions are good too. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a both and, but
Sure.
change can be really valuable. It sounds like smaller, more intimate, laid back,
Yeah.
a lot more
Yeah.
work. Totally the right
I just
call.
thought it was good.
I like
it was
that.
a good follow-up. I like this follow-up one. Why don't we save my bad comments for next week's, and
Okay,
we'll start
it's
with those.
such a good. I actually, when you were saying something at the beginning, I was like, we got to talk about those.
Yeah, let's go after one more question. This comes from two
haven't
people.
heard?
What?
I thought you would have
haven't
told
heard.
Matt. It was
We
funny,
haven't seen each other.
Yeah.
dude. I'll tell you right after the show's over because you got to hear
It
it.
was funny. One, I said, and I knew it was
thought we were gonna do a
inappropriate.
question.
We'll do it next week.
Well, and okay,
Yeah.
it's funny. There was two.
Yeah. I
And the
know.
thing is, then we. Oh,
it's
sorry.
a good question.
I can't talk about it anymore because I really thought they were. Some of
This
the
one's from
funniest.
Travis Tracy from Open Door Church, Shawnee, Oklahoma, and this one's from Pastor Dave Watson, Day Spring Assembly of God, Spencer, Iowa. And both of these questions basically go down to how do I get my kids to go to church on Sunday morning?
Adult
Right.
services?
Yeah.
They love youth group on Wednesday.
Well, I think
How in
that's-
the world
that's
do we?
the problem. Just even how we call them that, adult services.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Why would you want to
What
go to
else-
an adult service?
What else would you call it?
Main service. Church.
Main? Then what you're doing isn't main?
Well,
What
if
you're
you call,
doing isn't church?
well,
I
what
mean,
we're doing is not for students. It's for students. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Adult isn't much better.
yeah.
Well, like for example, I'm sending students up this weekend. We don't have youth group. We don't have our youth services, so we're sending everyone up to the adult services.
Yeah.
Do I call it adult or main? I say main because I think adult is lame.
Yeah.
Or go to church together. I think is even better.
It's really difficult. Let's just be honest. It's really difficult unless you cancel everything on the weekend
Always.
and you try to get and you really work hard to integrate your church service to be multi-generational and reach kids and children and
Yeah.
maybe you do Sunday school into a certain age, but then you make a philosophical shift
Right.
that says we want to reach everybody. I think it's very difficult because kids are in youth group. I look back and I think if I had to do things all over again, could I have thought different about that? Could I have, done the sit in one, serve in another? Like some churches don't have youth group on
Right.
Sunday mornings
Right.
or Sunday school or anything like that. They send their kids to church. Now they struggle to regain those kids because for many, I call them platter kids. They're delivered to your
Yeah.
youth group on a platter by their parents. Hey, we're all going to church, and then everybody goes their separate ways. Would it be great to have those teenagers in the body of the church? Absolutely. I think one of the major weaknesses of the youth ministry at Saddleback, and I
Yep.
take credit for this because I was there 18 years, is that kids graduate from our youth ministry and then they want to stay at Saddleback
Right.
and they want to go, but the services are really long. It's not the music
totally
isn't.
different.
It's just it's
You take credit
targeted.
for the long services?
No, I take credit for the fact that I think we got kids graduating who maintain their faith. They just go down the street to Rock Harbor or other
Right,
places
right.
where there's more of a younger
Which is
congregation.
The gap between a high school and the adult services, the gap is so wide.
Yeah.
That's
well,
fair.
and honestly, that would be a strategic move. I remember when I first got to Saddleback, I remember Rick saying, I need to free up seats in the main auditorium
Totally.
for adults. So, in
Go to
essence,
you,
kind of
yeah.
get the kids out of there so we can free up seats.
Right.
And it was our way to reach kids, and it was great. But I wonder, what happens to the kids now? Matt's going to chime in and say, who cares if they go to another church because churches don't own their people.
Well, no, I'm going to say that,
Okay.
so that's done. The other thing
I said it.
No, I know.
Yeah, I'm going to blog about it and take credit for it.
Great.
Keep going.
But I'm going to say the
Just
second
link to
thing
Doug
is
Fields.
to me, I don't think. Okay, an intergenerational service, I think that's great. I think you doing what, as a leader, you doing what you're called to do, what you're passionate about. I think that's a huge bottom line, huge foundation to all this stuff. So that's there, and there's no but. I would say the and is that I don't see a difference in reaching high school students and adults between reaching people from this city or that city. I mean, it's
Okay.
two different demographics. It's two different sets of needs. It's two different passions. It's two different, and so if you want to reach everybody, if that's your passion, then like what you just said, you got to have a philosophical shift. You have to change the services around or whatever.
yes.
But I think that to just lament, which you're not doing, but I've heard other people do this, to just lament and say, oh, it's horrible, we've failed, they haven't made the jump from here to the adult service, and woe is us. I think you're beating yourself up. And you shouldn't be. I think.
Agreed.
Then make some adjustments if you need to, but calling it an adult service makes sense because that's who they're targeting.
Yeah.
And you know what? You're a high school kid. You're growing up to be an adult. You're a young adult. You're gonna,
Right.
you're gonna be there sometime. But I don't like calling it the main service because
It minimizes what
reinforces
we're
that
doing.
we're not
It's true.
the main. I mean, I even think that I was thinking of buildings at our church that they shouldn't call it the worship center. They should call it the adult center, just like there's the student
interesting.
center and the children's center, you know. And that would be weird and goofy because that's what you do in church. Our culture says you got to call it the worship center, but the whole church is a worship center for kids and for students.
Cool.
So I don't know. So the adult thing,
Well,
Dude, stay on
you're
that
also on a little
soapbox.
bit of
It's strong.
a little bit of a kick right now because you jumped into a youth ministry that a year ago said no more youth ministry on Sunday morning,
right?
and tried this experiment of saying go plug into
Right.
to church.
And but it was such a, I mean, it was
We
a
canceled
rupture.
everything, so-
yeah. And there's other things that you can do to get kids to jump the gap. I mean, and I don't know exactly specifically what's going on in your thing,
yeah.
but like with our freshmen, like we're going to do a incoming freshman frenzy thing, and we're going to either go to the senior pastor's house for dessert or have a dessert where he comes and they can at least meet him and get to know who he is.
Brilliant.
We're going to pull in some of the worship leaders from the adult services, and I mean, there's ways to talk about it. When you
Totally.
talk about spiritual disciplines, one of the disciplines is involvement with the church body.
Totally.
And so that gets reinforced. That was lacking 100%.
Yeah.
In my context. So I think that there's things you can do to encourage it and to help bridge the gap. I just don't want to see people beating themselves up or
Well,
beating up other churches.
I think a
Look at you
couple.
being so pastoral.
No doubt, that was strong.
Yeah.
I think a couple years
kinder,
ago,
gentler
there was a
hats.
movement towards, maybe even still current, I don't know, it seems to have subsided, but the intergenerational worship where we don't have youth group, everyone worships together. Goes, and I would say that's a nice thing to say, but
Yeah,
very
but
few pastors would be willing to truly make their message, the experience, and I would say across the board, forget my context, I would say just across the board, it's very difficult for a senior pastor who's running a church of whatever people to talk to students as well as adults. It's hard to use illustrations that make sense to a teenager. It's hard to make references to the culture because you're used to talking to adults. So you make adult culture. You are an adult. I have to, as a high school pastor, have to make very specific choices of my illustrations, my object lessons, my connections points with these students. And I would just say intergenerational worship, it's a beautiful thing to say. It makes sense. You want to,
And
we
do
integrate
it if
them.
you're passionate about it.
I would say do it, but then make sure that what you're presenting to your intergenerational service hits them. Because probably you're just ticked because high school students aren't in church, and it makes sense they aren't in church because your service is programmed for 45-year-old men.
Yeah, it may be.
At best.
It's a 55-year-old. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Well,
it
I
can-
think there's
it
steps
can-
that you can take. Like, I love the idea, Matt, of you going, okay, let's look at a teenager and say involvement with the church body is a value. And then we want them to understand the value of church, not just youth group, church.
Right, right.
So what does that look like over a given set of years from the
freshman
having
frenzy, yeah.
having them meet with the the senior pastor, from once a quarter, a surprise cancellation
Of a
youth
weekend, and
group,
we all go to main
and you
service,
go to
yeah.
main service and debrief what church.
Yeah.
There are strategic ways of saying let's figure out how to do this so that kids don't grow up through your youth ministry and never have any connection with
Right,
the larger church body.
And
good.
we're starting a new service. I mean, the guy, our good friend, Jeffrey McGuire, who hired me, the church has touched him on the shoulder, tapped him on the shoulder, whatever that.
Yeah, I don't know.
You're in
Churches have
something.
done a lot of that.
But whatever, they've said, hey, go and reach this new, the demographic that we're not reaching, and so they're trying to do something about it. They're,
And that could be the go-between, that you send graduating students to that service, and then they eventually make the bridge to full adult services.
And it is a full adult service.
That's what
This
I would
one.
say. It is church.
It's 18 to 35. But if that's
Cool.
church, then so is what high school is doing is church.
Heck yeah, it is.
But that doesn't mean you leave it alone. I mean, it's just
Well, and
we need
I
fluid understandings of what the church is.
yes,
I'm sorry.
I would just say you're doing a better job of reaching high school students than your senior pastor is.
Absolutely.
Of
I
course
hope
you
so.
are. Of
that's
course
what
you
we're
are.
supposed to be doing.
So why would we not want to continue doing that?
Right.
I don't know. The intergenerational thing, I think it just looks really good on a blog post. I think in reality, it's tough. It's
I think
really,
some people
really
can
tough.
do it.
Let's be honest, that statement's true about most, a lot of seminaries, a lot of blog. I mean, the ivory tower of this, the ideal, here's what it should be.
Totally.
Are usually not said by practitioners. You know, the
Right.
radical statements
speaking
of
of
what church
practitioners.
should be and this should be and this should be are not made by people in the trenches
Right.
plugging away week after week. It's made by the quote unquote thinkers who are telling us what it should be, and
As they're
then
taking pot shots from everywhere
from the
except
pews.
for right.
From the pews as sitters, not leaders.
I don't know.
so.
I just
Right.
feel like that's a. I've been waiting
How
to
about,
talk
Well, I
about
think
that for a
my
long
tweet about a
time.
seminary professor requiring participation? I have a friend that's in seminary and was telling me about that. It just drove me crazy.
It's a good tangent. All right,
And that's my last cup of
let's
water.
End the show.
Let's be done.
Let's end the show. I've got plenty of bladder left. Bring it on.
Eight cups of water. I haven't left for the bathroom. Unlike some people.
I drank 4 times that this morning. I had 4 of these before I left Carl's Jr.
Go to thelifebook.com. In all seriousness.
No, I'm
sounds like
very
a cool,
excited
Can we get
cool
them to
deal.
send us some?
I'm going to absolutely
sign
talk
up?
to the
Why
guy.
don't you guys leave
I'll take
me too?
I want these two. Done.
All right. Beautiful.
Okay, see you
Thanks,
next
guys.
week.
Love you guys. See you. Bye.